have just received a final report from Justice Cohen into a $26 million federal inquiry into the collapse of the Fraser sockeye and the decline of wild fish. And he's made some very strong recommendations that salmon farms should be removed if there is minimal impact. We believe there's minimal impact. And also leases should not be extended for more than 1 year at a time. If at all, anybody thinks it's a good idea to sell out the seafloor of BC and effectively our wild salmon to the salmon farm feedlot industry. So I'm here today with Molina Dawson. She's in our care. Her family asked if she could come. She's from Kinkum Inlet, the Zawadanik, and I'm going to let her speak about salmon farming and what it's been doing to her community. And we have a petition to deliver as well. So here's Molina Dawson.
Okay, like she says, my name is Molina Dawson, and I can only speak for myself and my family, but I know that we know that salmon farms aren't doing anything for us, or any of our small communities for that matter, but they're threatening our salmon with salmon from the Atlantic, and I'm sure you all know that this is the Pacific, not the Atlantic, so they really have no reason to be here. So I'm gonna hand the mic over to Alex, and she can tell you more about the technical, scientific stuff. And yeah, she's pretty much been adopted to our people and family and that. So here she is.
Thank you, Molina. Molina's come from a very, very remote village. They had to raise money to fly her out by seaplane, so it's a long way that she's come. And it happens that I've lived in her territory for 26 years, and the salmon farming industry is extremely dangerous to the wild fish. I'm tracking 3 European viruses right now the government forgot to tell Justice Cohen about. When he released the disease records, he actually saw symptoms of them in the farm salmon, and that's why I went searching for these viruses, and they're there. And there'll be more on this later. I'm not free to talk about it at the moment, but it's very serious, and I think we're way past minimal risk. Justice Cohen said if we find greater than minimal risk of this industry, it should cease to operate. So we're going to ring the doorbell and deliver 11,712 signatures to Premier Christy Clark, asking her not to renew the salmon farm leases, particularly in Molina's territory. They're being faced with 18 salmon farm renewals right now. The government is pressuring them and says they don't have a right to have an opinion to this because they can't show traditional use of the sea floor under the farms.
Shame on them! Shame on them!
So here we go. When we tried to deliver a similar petition to Gordon Campbell, he locked the door, but they're opening it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Hey, Molina.
All right. Yeah.
Thank you, all of you, for coming. The wild salmon people, you're everywhere. Like the salmon in small groups throughout this province. And we know there's at least 11,000 of us, because there's the book that went in the door.
We are at a crossroads now. This is now a golden opportunity for Premier Christy Clark to take the right action, do the right thing, and not renew any of those leases. And we need to give Christy Clark, the NDP government, and any other government the message that we're not going to stop until the last feedlot is taken out of the waters of BC.
We do not want these fish farms. They won't. They won't allow them in their own country, but they come here and use our waters and pollute our fish, and the government is allowing them to. And that's wrong.
At one time, the Fraser River had 130 million of my cousins. And in that time, the forests have been destroyed. Our habitats have been conquered by mines, by pollution, raw sewage, climate change. Mother salmon, raven, and bear, they all talk about it the whole time. They just don't speak your language. If you listen to them through the indigenous peoples who've been telling the stories for thousands of years, it's a system that works. It's not made of money. It's made of the spirit of the people that live here and have a true relationship with the earth.
The beat in these drums is the same beat in our hearts. The beat in the four-leggeds is the same beat that beats in our hearts. We are not separate. And the silence of the earth is so loud for those of us who are listening. But for those who have deaf ears, who cover their ears and their eyes, we must speak out.
We're all life, we're all connected. We need to protect each other, we need to look after each other. Just looking after our lands, our homelands, and they'll look after us.
Thank you. I came here especially because of my niece. She's been a big inspiration to many of us. But I'm also here for the defenseless fish and all the other creatures in the ocean. It's not only salmon that are dying. And let me tell you, I'm dying. Let me tell you, my people are dying. I'll tell you, I'm still kicking. And as long as I can wheel around in my chair, you'll find me where I can go and have the privilege of being. If it wasn't for the fish, I might not be here today. If it wasn't for the precious oleander, I might not be here today. We have to care. It doesn't matter what race or what color we are. We're all going to be decimated if we are not careful. The idiots that tell us there is no climate warming are dunces with their heads up their butts, and they can keep them there as far as I care. They have not proven one darn thing except how ignorant they are, and that includes people like Harper, who allows foreigners into our precious waters to come and foul everything up. You know, hundreds of years ago, I came from the ancestors of the Musqueam are noted for their strength and courage. But they're not only noted for strength and courage, they're noted for their generosity, their hospitality. And let me tell you, Clark and Harper, our generosity and hospitality, the door slams in your face when you start tampering with our waters and our food. Look out, because I'll tell you, we'll do what we have to defend our fish and all of the creatures in the ocean that are defenses. If it's not oil, it seems you're greedily grasping for foreign funds from Norway or wherever. Learn a lesson from the Scots. Learn a lesson from all the other countries where they've decimated and destroyed their environment in the ocean because of greed. Learn from those people. I know the state of Washington, thank God, watch us like hawks. They do not trust a thing we do with our fish or our water. And I can't say I blame them. If whatever her name was, the former governor of Alaska, can beat our idiots up here and get the fish farms out, all the more power to her. I'm with her there. Thank you.
think we're way past minimal risk. Justice Cohen said if we find greater than minimal risk of this industry, it should cease to operate.
That we're not going to stop until the last feedlot is taken out of the waters of BC.
When you start tampering with our waters and our food, look out, because I'll tell you, we'll do what we have to defend our fish. Look out, because I'll tell you, we'll do what we have to defend our fish.